J.J. Nelson, any setbacks there?
No, he's doing fine, really. JJ will be fine.
Talk to Jacobs after the game about when he decides to leap and when he decides to just carry the ball in. And he said it's just kind of a feel thing. And I'm curious about goal line and short yardage runners. How much of that stuff can be taught and coached, and how much of it's just the guy?
Well, a lot of it definitely is the guy or is the feel of that runner. And, we certainly, because we haven't done any live goal line scrimmages since we've been here, that was our first look at him. But he had let us know during the game planning during the week that he was comfortable with that, either driving through and on his feet or going over the top. So, when we saw it, it was certainly a pleasant surprise for us. And, he's obviously a heavy back. And you see that when he runs, that the pile moves when he hits the pile, whether he's jumping up in the air or whether he's hitting on the ground. So that was very encouraging.
That particular skill, that short yardage goal line skill, that's something you probably couldn't tell from Alabama, could you?
No, I mean, we knew he was a powerful running back. I thought, again, our scouting department hit him right on as the player who we thought he was, and that is a very heavy running back. And I think you appreciate when you see him as a person, the way he's built. He's certainly thick, but when he finally got a chance to go live, you could hear him as well on the sideline. So, that was encouraging. And again, I think our guys did a fantastic job of when they described him in the scouting reports leading up to the draft, that's who the player that he said he was.
For all the movement that you guys had trying to find the right mix on the interior line at guard, how do you think that Jordan and Denzel
obviously it hurts when you certainly lose Gabe and then to lose Richie to the two games. We had mentioned earlier as a staff, we felt very comfortable with our depth, especially with the interior players that we had in the fact that we had Jordan Devy, really, and Denzel Good, both players who have started in the NFL and have had starting experience in the NFL. So there's not many teams that have that had that kind of depth. So we certainly felt lucky that they were part of our team.
What do you like about using the extra tackle in certain, it's third and short, and you run it sometimes, you throw it sometimes. What do you guys like about that?
Yeah, we've done that. Just gives us a little bit of heavier body, and if you look at our offensive line, I think we are big. Coach had talked about that earlier about the Raiders. I think he'd made a statement in the staff meeting, Al Davis would be proud of this offensive line. They're big and they're strong, and really they're pretty athletic. So anytime we can add another big body in there in those situations, goal line, short yard situations, we feel comfortable doing that.
Waller, he's a guy that I think you probably on the practice field see a lot of evidence that he could go out and be a starting tight end in this league, but hadn't done it in the game. Goes out there, 7 catches, 70 yards. I mean, what impressed you about what he took from the practice field out onto the game?
Well, as you guys know, we've had high expectations of him since we signed him last year. We had a chance to see him when we first signed him from Baltimore, and he came out and did some things on a practice field. We were certainly encouraged. And then we were able to play him in a couple of games, and he did not disappoint us in the games that he played last year. His work ethic, his character, his strength in the weight room, what he's able to do athletically. We had a pretty good feeling that he was going to be a player, and certainly he didn't disappoint, and we're happy with his development, and we think he can get better.
Obviously, with Colt Miller, he's bigger, stronger, and healthy as compared to when you guys played the Seahawks last year. But do you show him that tape against Frank Clark as he goes back up against him?
I think Tom Cable, does a tremendous job with those guys, and I don't think that Colt needs any extra motivation. He's not externally motivated. I think he's got a lot of internal pride, and we talk about that. It's not necessarily always about the opponent across from you. It's about you. And he's done a lot, certainly in the off season, to get stronger and to get quicker and more powerful. Done a fantastic job with our weight staff here. But I think he's focused on just getting better myself. And I know he takes note, maybe the guy that he's going to go against this week, but he knows if he stays technically sound and follows the rules that he's been taught, that he'll be fine.
What did you like about his performance against Denver?
Well, I like the fact that from both those guys that Derek really didn't get touched. I mean, very impressive. When you look at the edge rushers that they just faced, with Chubb and Von Miller, two of the premier edge rushers in the league, and really kept Derek clean. throughout the game, and that's a very encouraging start. Certainly there's a long ways to go, but we feel good about the start.
Coach, John has said several times, and we've saw it, how much you're going to spread the ball around on offense. How's the integration of Keelan Doss been going this week?
It's been good. Again, you're lucky when you can bring somebody back that's been in your system, and as you all saw in Hard Knocks, he's someone that we had expectations of, and unfortunately we weren't able to keep him on our active roster, but we did want to sign him under a practice squad. He was able to, when he initially went to Jacksonville, I think they offered a little bit better package, and so it's understandable that he left for maybe a better opportunity, but the chance to bring him back with the loss of AB, I think he jumped at the chance, and we made him an offer again. So we were happy with his development, and we're happy to get him back.
I mean, a short week, so it helps to have somebody who's here that knows it.
Yeah, certainly it knows things, and we always we have a pretty good feel about who's going to be up on game day. But it's nice to be able to have somebody in here again, another young player on our side of the ball, a young offensive player that we feel can play in the National Football League and play winning football in the National Football League. So we're excited about the chance to try and develop him.
Obviously, game circumstances are going to dictate your play selections in terms of run and pass. And even though the league seems to be gravitating towards a pass-happy league, you guys ideally want to be close to 50-50?
Yeah, and I think, again, you talked with John, that's where he would like to be. And we're built to run the football. I think when you look at our running back now and you look at our offensive line, the tight end situation, we're built to run the football, and there are a lot of statistics and analytics out there that prove that running the football is still important in the National Football League, and we're not ever going to veer away from that. And we feel right now that we have the players to run the football.
You coached against Spags before. So what are some of the characteristics of his scheme that you saw last week on the phone?
He's always been a guy that brings some exotic pressures. That you hear that term, exotic pressures. He's one of the defensive coordinators throughout the league that prides himself on exotic pressures. So we've gone back and looked at certainly a lot of tape of what he's done in the past and what he's done obviously since he's been in Kansas City. But we've looked at a lot of tape and gone back a lot of years to try and get a feel for what we might see. But you got to prepare for everything with Spags.
Hey Raider Nation, if you like that video, please hit the subscribe button below so you don't miss any of our exclusive content, behind the scenes footage, and more. Go Raiders.